What if the most powerful way to deepen your connection with your kids only took 10 minutes a day? Let's be honest. Midlife motherhood brings a whole new level of what the heck is happening. Your kids are growing up, maybe moved out, and suddenly those long text threads of logistic reminders and did you finish your homework have gone quiet. Hey, it's Jody Silverman, your life coach, midlife motivator, and fellow recovering fixer. And if you've ever sent your kid a message and stared at the phone waiting for the bubbles to appear, this episode is for you. Today, I get to talk with Tammy Cohen, brand messaging expert, podcast host, restaurant owner, yes, really, and author of Text Messages to My Son, a guide to using mobile devices to connect and communicate with your kids. Her approach to connection is not just heart centered, it's practical, doable, and dare I say, brilliant. Tammy's journey through personal growth, parenting adult sons, and a life changing breast cancer diagnosis led her to one simple, powerful practice that changed everything. And it can for you too. So grab your coffee, breathe deeply, and let's explore how to create connection in a disconnected world, starting with your next text. And hey, if this episode resonates, don't miss the link in the show notes after the episode to grab Tammy's book and check out the 5 Dares for Connection and Well-Being, my free gift to help you feel more grounded, connected, and more like you in midlife. Let's dive in. Hey, Tammy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jody. I'm so excited to be here, and I really enjoyed our pre-show conversation.
So I'm really excited to have you on our show today because when I received your inquiry about being a guest, I was super excited um, about the book you wrote and about the topic. So I'm going to let you do the spoiler alert and show everybody, but take a few minutes before we dive into this conversation to share with the listeners out there who you are and what you wrote and how you got the why behind it.
Well, who am I? Okay, so that's a really good question.
Yeah.
I'm a mom,
Yeah.
but I like to think of myself as a connector. I do brand messaging consulting, which is connecting, brands to the audience. I am an author. I've written, this is my second book, Text Messages to Your Son, to your sons, to my sons, I'm sorry, Text Message to My Sons, a guide to using mobile devices to connect and communicate with your kids. I'm a podcaster too. I'm a founder of a women's business network called Women Beyond the Table. And I own a restaurant with my husband on the Upper East Side of Manhattan called 18 Restaurant. So it's like
I didn't know that
all
part.
those.
I knew all the others, but I didn't
Yeah,
know that
when you
part.
come to New York, you'll come to my restaurant because I'll invite you and your husband or you, whatever you want,
Yes.
for dinner. So what do all these things have in common? They're all about connection. They're connecting people. People connect at a restaurant, right? People connect in a network. Like I said, the book is about connecting. Now the book is mostly about connecting to my sons. That's where I started. But it's not just about connection to your kids. If you don't have kids, you can connect with somebody. You can connect with a niece and nephew. You can connect with a good friend who needs you, who needs to
Yeah.
hear. So it's pretty broad. Now, how did this happen with me? Did I start out to write a book with text messages? No, nothing like that. So it was the first pandemic. I call it the first pandemic because I recently went through another pandemic this year. And we can get into that later. But the first pandemic, we were all shut down, and I had been working and traveling a lot and pretty much running away. I knew I wasn't okay. I knew I wasn't a happy person. I knew I had a lot of resentment and frustrations and things. So we were shut down. So what do you do? So I said, you know what? This is from God in a lot of ways, even though it's very challenging. I need to work on myself. So, I jumped into Tony Robbins and
Oh, yeah.
Mind Valley and Joe Dispenza,
Oh,
Robert
all the
Sharma.
good thought leaders of the world.
Yeah, I was just like everything, reading, everything you think. I was virtually on in every course under the sun. I hired a life coach, I hired a business coach. I was like on fire, right? The thing that was amazing to me is as I was learning about limiting beliefs and saboteurs and what happens to us, from generational discord as
Mm.
kids and the powerlessness of being a kid and being, around other people who are kind of the tribe, right? And they're
Yeah.
just instilling things in us and we're going along with it because we don't know. We just don't know. Um, I said, wow, Jody, wow. They don't teach any of this stuff in school.
And
They
this
don't
is
teach
what
like,
they should teach, right?
yeah, they don't teach worthiness. They don't teach gratitude. They don't teach
No. They don't
anything.
teach how to the cognitive, and it's all cognitive behavior therapy in a way. I mean, it really is. They don't teach you what to do when you feel reactive and angry and what to do with your emotions.
No, they don't. And as a matter of fact, if you're not in the bell curve, then there's another example of how you're really not
Right.
okay. When you are okay, you just a way of thinking. And so basically, I was like, they don't teach us. And I really want to share everything I'm learning with my kids because I find it really interesting what I'm learning and they don't teach it in school. So what happened was I started to text my kids. Now, why text, right? Let's face it, everybody's on their phone.
Hmm.
Okay. No kid is having an in-person conversation. They're really not interested in having that. People in general aren't. Everybody has a phone either in their hand, their back pocket, or their handbag. I own a restaurant. People are sitting at tables texting. They're like looking at their phone. They're scrolling. They're doing whatever they're doing. You're sitting across from
I
somebody
think it's
at a
horrible, but
table and you
yeah.
have your phone sitting there. It's very interesting. It's changed a lot. I grew up where, of course, there were conversations. We only had three, channels on TV. You didn't have, there wasn't any distraction. Now we're living in a world where you have a device that's algorithms are designed to steal your focus. Okay,
Yes.
one of the best books I read was Johann Hari's Stolen Focus because
Oh,
that's what they do, right? They're stealing your focus, and not only are they stealing your focus, it's they want to learn you. They want to learn so much about you.
yes.
So a lot of these kids are watching what? What are they watching? Train wrecks, dark web, there's misinformation, there's so much indoctrination.
Mm.
I'm Jewish, right? So you
Yeah.
see it, you see the
Yeah.
hate, negativity. This is what your kids, this is what people you care about. This is what there's depression because there's so much hate and violence out there, and the energy is just awful. So I said, you know what? I'm going to message my kid because they're going to see it, first of all. And second of all, I have zero expectations of a response.
Can I wait, stop right there because I read that, you wrote that in just the introduction of your book. That is a huge point to make. That is a huge point to make about when you feel like your kids aren't responding to you, to just send them like wishing you a good day today with no expectation. If you're sending it waiting by the phone to get it back, you're going to be in what my friend Adina calls the valley of suffering. So she says, here are your expectations. Here are what somebody doesn't know and in between, that's the valley of suffering. But go ahead. So you decided to start texting them with no expectation, just about
Yeah,
what you were learning.
because listen, I don't need, you don't do it because you need validation that you're a wonderful person and you're a wonderful mom and you're a good person. If you're looking for that, that's not why you do this.
If you're
This,
looking
it's,
for
it's
that,
just,
you need to go within and start the personal growth journey that we both were on.
well, it should be an unconditional thing. I'm
Yeah.
sending this message to you because I love you, because you matter, and I want to share with you. I'm not looking to tell you what to do.
Mhm.
I'm not looking to do these things. I'm looking to share. I'm looking
Yeah.
to be real with you. I'm looking to be authentic.
Yeah.
Um, and you know what? The kids, they see it. They respect that. Uh, and look, I mean, you have different ages of kids, of
Yeah.
course. I'm not saying the same type of message goes to a high school kid and a middle school kid who has a phone,
Right.
then a college kid, and then an adult child. Like it's very different type of messaging. But the idea is that I started out sharing what I was learning, and what was coming out of me was this heart-centered stuff that I never really thought about before, like how much I love them, how grateful I am for my life, how grateful I am for them, how worthy they are, how much they matter, they're extraordinary, and why.
Can I
And
ask you, I'm sorry, how old were your sons? You have three boys, which by the way, they wrote the foreword to the book. Oh my God. I'm like, oh, I could cry. There's a beautiful, you have to get the book. There's a link in the bio in our show notes below. And there's a beautiful picture of you with your boys. So how old were they when you started to this texting?
I was not, I was, how old was I? I was in my late 50s when I started texting them, and they were, my youngest was 20,
Yeah,
26, and I want to say
yep,
25, 26, 27, 26. The three of them. The point is that it's never too late to build a connection. It's
never.
never too late to repair a relationship. It's never too late. And what makes it simple is that you can take 10 minutes a day to build a habit. So I tell people there's 960 minutes between like Monday to Friday. That's when I message. I don't do it on the weekends. Monday to Friday, send a message. There's 960 minutes that you're awake, 10 minutes to put together a message. And it's not a one-off. It's not going to work if you do it one day here, one day there. Oh, I love you. Like I tell everybody I love them. How about that? Like
Right.
I'll say to the guy from my doorman, I'll be like, love ya. Like,
Yeah, I know,
like we're
right?
New Yorker, like we're just like that's how we talk here. Okay. So that doesn't mean anything. It's the consistency. You have to build a consistent habit. And it's 10 minutes a day. And I joke around with people. I'm like, look, I have a book. It's written in text message format. There's 11 chapters, 11 categories of
Yes.
messages.
By the
You can
way,
take
hold it
one from
up.
here, tweak it.
Yeah, if you're not watching, after you listen to it, go to YouTube and you'll see we just held up the book again, Tammy. Hold it up again.
Yes,
So
here it
there's
is. It's on Amazon, text
text
messages
messages to my
format.
sons. Love it. Yes, we
And this
have
is
the link.
something I talk about because I speak to audiences and groups. I speak about it. It's really 10 minutes, take a message, tweak it. But I promise you, at the like no time at all, you're going to become more present because you're sending this beautiful message. You're releasing this energy that's vibrating at a very high frequency, and love and gratitude is like the highest frequency stuff.
Absolutely.
You're going to start noticing like beautiful things. Like I start talking about nature and
Yeah.
things that I never thought about or noticed before, and I shared it because I was like,
Yeah.
wow, isn't this amazing? Look, I saw this sign today and it said God loves you. And I never saw it before. What do you think? This is a message for, don't you think this is a message for
Yeah.
me? And like, I want to share it with you. God loves you. And things like that. And you start becoming like just aware, like more aware. I talk about breathing, like just
Oh, can
we
I
breathe
just, yeah.
breathe today. Like it's so important. And you know what, like things like that. And you see it just starts, you start flowing out and your brain is rewiring while you're sending these messages, okay? You're really creating new connections in your brain. You're rewiring your brain in a lot of ways. What happens is, and I promise, because I'm a living proof of this, is that you start messaging here, you're deepening connections to your kids, it starts rippling. You start thinking this way to your community, you start thinking this way to your friends.
So true.
But
So true.
basically, every message you send somebody who needs to get a message from you, you want to deepen connection with, you're really messaging yourself. What
Yes.
was I was deepening connection to myself. I deepened my connection to God. I deepened my connection to other things because I started the habit here. And my kids really it resonated with them. And this year, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, my kids started messaging me. And they were messaging me back the resilience messages. That was always a topic that I sent them. We're strong, you're strong, we have this. And they wound up really stepping up and asking me, like, like, how are you? What can I do for you? What do you need from me? Whereas before, you know what? Like, they never were like, Mommy, I love you. You're
Yeah.
amazing. What a mom. I'm the best mommy.
Yeah,
No, the
no.
guys, they weren't answering. Like, sometimes, like, love you or a great message or message is too long. I got those two also. But at the end of the day, you know what? It doesn't matter because they were great kids. They lost and they would have been there regardless. But I think doing this messaging with over the years made them also step up
Yeah.
because that was a norm for us now.
So, Tammy, so much of what you said, I'm like sitting here and people can't see it. Like I'm nodding, I'm smiling. First of all, I believe in signs and I believe the universe brings people into your space that you need or can enhance. And you and I are speaking the same language, sister, because so the difference in our stories is I have always seen the bright side. I was a happy, positive, optimistic person to the point where I started to wonder, is there something wrong with me? Like, am I, because I would have sad, devastating things happen in my life. And I believe me, I can cry and I can scream like the best of them. But things, but I was able to also feel the joy at the same time. Like I was able to hold sadness and joy in the same space. I was able to look at the guy. I'm not saying I never cursed out somebody who cut me off in traffic. We all do. But more than not, I tend to not be easily bothered. Now, wasn't always the case, but as I reflected back, as I got older, I realized I was less easily bothered by things than other people. I had a different perspective that leaned towards the positive, optimistic, not toxic. But unlike you who said, okay, I want to feel happier, I want to feel more joy and look at it that way. I was looking for the reasons why I was able to do it a little bit easier than other people I knew. And so I sought out the books on happiness, Happy for No Reason and The Happiness Advantage and learned optimism. I read all those books, but then all the other good books too. And what I discovered is what you're talking about. There are so many practices that you can adopt and put into practice to create habits in your life to boost your connection to others, but more so your connection with yourself and to boost your mood and overall well-being. And the number one way that everybody talks about is gratitude. And gratitude fosters love, both self-love and love for others, even in the darkest of times, which people would say we're living in pretty hard times to love on one another. I don't think it's hard to love. I think, because we've been practicing it. And what you were sharing in the introduction of your book and what you were sharing kind of is what all of us feel. Most of us as moms are texting our children, and you write, when my sons were growing up, I texted them either reminders, commands, or reprimands. And then you say, I wanted to evolve and change how I interacted with my sons. I longed to be someone they wanted to hear from. And so many moms in this midlife chapter where they have teens, and even more so when the kids leave home, they feel left out of their kids' lives. They feel like their kids don't love them anymore. They don't need them anymore. And I'm constantly saying, I'm going to call BS on that narrative. Our kids need us. They love us. But what they're doing is they're doing what we raised them to do, go out and
Be a
find
camper.
themselves. And it's their selfish time, not selfish in a bad way. So I love how you share how you approach texting your sons because you created the connection without any expectation back from them, and yet they can't help but notice it. They can't help but feel the positivity, and there is a ripple effect to it. And I love that because if you just stop feeling sorry for ourselves as moms and understand we did exactly what we were supposed to do, and let's just I'll text on a Wednesday. To me, Bitmoji was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I'll text them happy hump day with the camel and me on the camel. And, they think it's funny. They think it's comical. They're like, mom loves her emojis, her Bitmojis, but it brings a smile to their face, right?
Right. You know what I think was really good for my kids was the learning. They were seeing me like at a certain age, like continuing to learn, to be willing to change, to be willing
Yes.
to think differently, to to go out on a limb and do a course and do something different. If you would have told me in 2020 that I would have expanded my business of brand messaging consulting, if that I would be an author, a podcaster, a founder of Women's Business Network, I mean, I would have been like, "Are you high?
I
Like, what are you talking about?" You, when your kids see you evolving, when they see you trying things, when they see you doing things, it resonates with them.
yes, it does. And they're
And
proud. Aren't they proud of you? They're proud
they're
of you.
proud.
I
When
know
my
they're
kids
proud of you.
really started seeing me as a human being, though, was when I became more accountable. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't, the accountability messaging was a big thing for me because I'm like, how do you want your kids to be accountable or respectful or any of that stuff if you don't model it? Like I grew up in a household where it was like, I'm the parent. I'm telling you what to do. I
Right.
don't care what you think. You're going to love me and you're going to respect me because I'm the parent.
Me too.
And you know what? It may be in those times, but as a kid, I didn't want to be that parent. I was that parent. Okay. I didn't have patience for anything. That's why I wanted to work on myself. But I realized with them, like I do better with them when I'm parenting, like when I'm with them,
Yeah. So
and then the opposite.
Tammy, you're doing what I always say, you've raised your kids to go out in the world, brave new experiences, meet new people. It's time for you to do the same. And I tell the women in my Facebook group, Moms Who Dare, and in my Dare On membership community, your purpose is the same purpose you sent your kid. You're going to take the same parallel journey. You're going to go on a parallel journey with your children. They're going out to figure out who they are. You're going to go figure out who you are now. And it makes you more interesting to your children. You can have
Uh-huh. They
better,
admire it. They
better,
admire
deeper,
it.
more meaningful conversations. And if they tell you or not, they are proud of you and they do admire it. I mean, what better end to your forward? I got chills as I'm looking at a picture of you and your three sons. Mom, we are so proud you took the leap and made this book. You always reinforce our beliefs in ourselves, and now we want to use this forward to reinforce our belief in you. Are you kidding me, Tammy? I have chills everywhere that this is a gift. And you didn't do this to set out for them to say that to you.
No, none, listen, this didn't start off, none of this was about a book, okay?
Yeah.
I was messaging them and then I would share with colleagues and friends, like, oh, I do this to my kids. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, that's amazing. You should
Yeah.
put it in a book. I'm like,
Yes.
how do I do that? I don't know how to do that.
All
I don't
right.
know how
Well,
to
you
write a
figured it
book. I got
out.
a
You figured
Google
it out.
editor. I honestly had no clue. But what I realize is really cool for them is in a roundabout way, they every person, I don't care what age you are, I don't care how old you are, you want to know that your parent loved you and you want to know that they thought you were worthy. Okay. That's what everybody wants to know. They want to hear
Everybody.
it. They want to
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, it doesn't matter. You do it. You're the parent. It's an unconditional thing. You do it and you send it. And if you don't have kids, and your parents could never do it for you, find somebody to do it for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Absolutely.
people out there who are looking for a connection. What is depression? It's lack of connection, it's lack of purpose.
Lack of
You
feeling
care that somebody
seen.
needs it.
Yeah.
Or do it for a niece and nephew. I have grandparents who are doing it. They have adult grandchildren. They love
Yeah.
it. They know how to
I love
text.
it.
I have dads, who didn't grow up, like they're not nurturers. For them, it's very hard to have a conversation
Yeah.
and say, I love you, you matter to me. But they can do it in a text. There's a lot of dads, there's a lot of families who are not going through like happy, amicable divorce.
True.
They can't see the child. There's a problem. You can tell your kid, I love you. I can't wait to see you. You matter to me.
Yeah.
These are important things. And every
And
kid is different. Like what I try to say is like with parents also when I speak about this, I'm like, look, you might give your kid a phone in middle school and you could start messaging them, but middle school is a little more independent than lower school. High school is more independent than middle school. College is way more independent than high school because they don't live at home now. Okay.
right.
Then you have your adult children. You have to treat them as the kid who's gaining that more independence and be okay with that, what you were saying.
Yes.
That's what you want. You want them to become more independent.
Yeah.
The
Of
messages have to relate. Now, when your kid's in high school, yeah, you're going to send powerful, great messages, but you can also have some reminders and commands and
course.
things
Of
in there
course.
because they live at home and they need the structure.
And they need the
Don't forget,
accountability too.
we're not your best friends, okay?
Yeah.
We're not best friends. My
Now,
kids and I are
thank
not
you.
best friends,
Thank
okay?
you for
We're not.
saying that. I know that I make a lot I have a lot of moms shaking their head and disagreeing with me, but your kids are not your best friends. My daughter's 30, she's getting married. She's not my best friend. We have a more of an adult relationship, and I
Mhm.
share things with her I wouldn't have shared with her at 16, but I wouldn't tell her what I tell my best friend Laura, and she
Right,
would never
absolutely.
tell me, and I don't want to hear certain things that she shares with her best friend Tali. Like that's not a thing. I don't want that. So I love that you said that. I do want to say this. So yeah, I get a lot of pushing back, but they are. I'm like, no, they're not. Um, that's a whole nother we're gonna have more conversations. I love this.
No, but it's
I
like funny because parents think like they have. they have to be really nice to the kid. Like you have to be
Yeah.
so nice. It's not, your kids don't need you to be super nice. They need you to be real with them and have structure.
And
They
love
need you to
them.
model. If you want them to, you have to model it. You
Yeah.
have to, like, and when you make the mistake that they're your best friends, it is a mistake because they still need to know that you're the pillar. You are the pillar for them,
Yeah.
okay? Whether they want to say it or not. You are that touchstone,
Yeah.
okay? You tell them, I believe in you and I love you and you matter. That's what they need. That's all they need. And they want to
Absolutely.
hear it, yeah, they have to hear it more than once
Yep.
because that and we're human. We're human beings. And when I was able to tell my kids, when did they see me as a human being? It was when I was able to say to the kids, look, there were so many times growing up where I lost myself. I was screaming. I was mean. I said terrible things. I've done things that I'm not proud of. And I said to them, it was never you. When I'd act that way, it was not you. It
You
was
wrote
me.
that. You wrote that in the book.
You weren't I got triggered so easily. You
But the
never did
fact that
anything
you
wrong.
came back years later and shared that with them, you're teaching your
Yeah.
children it's okay to apologize and to admit that you weren't perfect. I do that too. I really hope one of my biggest hopes is that I've taught my kids that it's okay to apologize.
hmm
That
And also
you're,
that's when they saw me as a human. They saw me as a
yes,
big, like not just
exactly.
mom, they saw me as somebody who has faults and things and like I'm trying.
Yeah.
That's the point. You
Well,
know, you own what you do, but and that you're trying to do better. And your
yeah,
kids admire when they see a parent trying to do better. They're not out there taking advantage of you. They're just
no.
seeing you trying to do better. But you hold, you have still the parent.
Yes. Yeah. I love this. Love this. Okay, we're definitely going to do another episode another time. We have to start wrapping this up. But before we get to the dare, I do want to read something that you wrote for, because this could be jarring. In the introduction, you wrote that according to a survey by Springtide Research Institute, about 40% of young adults aged 13 to 25 report feeling lonely and disconnected from their parents and other adults. And then you wrote, furthermore, a 2023 Institute of Family Studies report found that around 35% of young adults 18 to 29 feel a lack of strong emotional bonds with their parents. And I just want to, and you said you jump down, you say a few more things, but you say the answer is simple. Reach out to your kids wherever they are and use whatever works with no expectations. So circling back, a simple act of sending an upbeat, honest, authentic text to your children to let them know with the only expectation to let them know they're seen, they're heard, or to share something you learned, like, oh my God, I read this. I can't believe I never knew this before. This is how you can foster connection with your children and others in your lives. So I thank you so much for writing this book, for everything that you're doing. I mean, your podcast is called Women Beyond the Table podcast. Can't wait to talk to you about that. Yeah, we're definitely going to have you back. We're definitely going to go
Thank
into the
you.
Moms Who Dare
I
Facebook
would
group.
love to come back.
I'm putting it out there that we're going to have an event for the Moms Who Dare Facebook group because we need you, your energy, your message. Because I don't know, I mean, I'm assuming about you. I am so thoroughly enjoying my adult relationship with my children. And it's because I've let go of stuff. I've let go of beliefs. I mean, that's something we didn't talk about. We're going to, but you mentioned it briefly that, we have beliefs that we were brought up with believing that might not be serving us. Like you said about, you're going to respect me just because I'm your parents, but we'll have more on that later. But this is such important conversation. And if you take away anything from this, I think it's that. I think do this without any expectations other than sharing love and gratitude. That's it. I love that.
Absolutely.
But I know you do know that nobody gets out of here without a dare for the audience. So, do you have something you want to dare? Well, I mean, it's obvious, start texting, but how would you articulate a good dare for this audience or the one mom listening? What would you dare her to do?
Okay. Sit down. Okay. Think about what matters to you most. And the thing that matters to you most, think about your the one thing that you can do to nourish it and take care of it and make sure that it grows and to deepen it. And think about the easiest way you can do it.
I like that.
What's
And
easy? What doesn't take a lot of money? What do you have at your disposal?
And do it.
And then use it and go from there. Like it's just a matter of get to building a habit. And like I said, okay, you have 960 minutes in the week between Monday and Friday. So I challenge you to find 10 minutes anytime during the day to stop what you're doing, take a couple of deep breaths, and just say, "Hey, I love you, and I want you to know you're extraordinary," and share one thing.
Love that.
That's three sentences.
I love that. I love that. Tammy, thank you. And again, the book, hold it up again. Hold up your book. Hold up your book. Hold it up. Hold it up. Text messages to my sons. And what, read the byline, the tagline for me.
A guide to using mobile devices to connect and communicate with your kids.
Brilliance. Absolute brilliance. All right, everybody. The link is in the show notes. You can connect with Tammy through the link. You can get her book, check out the podcast, anything you need to know. And just remember, we'll be back next week. So dare on. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to reconnect. Sometimes all it takes is a short, heartfelt message sent without any expectation to say, "Hey, I love you. You matter. I'm here." If you're sitting there thinking, "Oh my gosh, I needed to hear this," then I dare you, yes, you, to try it this week. Pick one person, one moment, one message. And if you want more support like this, Tammy's book, Text Messages to My Son, is linked in the show notes below. It's not just a read, it's a resource you'll want to keep on hand and gift to every mom friend you know. Also, speaking of support and connection, did you know that there's an entire community of women navigating midlife with each other? Not alone. It's called Dare On Membership. And it's filled with women just like you who are ready to create meaningful next chapters. Read all about us with the link below. And should you decide to come in and say hi, I'll be waiting to welcome you. Until next week, you've got this, and I've got you. Dare on.